Hello, beautiful conscious creators. So many of you have asked what happens when we meet our twin flames. What is this connection all about? What has everyone talking about this? In my last video, I talked about the true nature of the twin flame connection. Now that we know the purpose of it, today we're going to be talking about what 3 key things happens to everyone when we meet our twin flame. I'm Kim Thalken, intuitive channel, quantum healer, and hypnotherapist, and I am so excited to cover this topic because it's complex. There's many different layers to this connection, and it is an experience that you'll love and fear all at the same time. Now, I want to point out that everybody's on their own unique journey that is specific to them, just how the soul perfectly laid it out for each one of us. So while there may be some commonality in the twin flame experience, each person is going to have their own unique flair to the experience that they have. And remember that. This is not about comparing and contrasting. In fact, it's just about really sharing information with each other that'll assist us in navigating our way through. So let's get started. The first thing that happens is that we experience divine love. That's what makes this so intense because of the purity of the love that it is that's felt. Again, it's divine. So how does this happen? We meet our twin flame, then how do we go to feeling divine love? Well, first, the energy of your twin will spark an inner knowingness that there's something very different about this person and connection. So you'll know that this person is going to play an important role in your life. They showed up for a reason. And if you talk to them by phone first, for example, the sound of their voice will trigger that knowingness. And then when you meet them, there's an activation that takes place, and your body will more than likely vibrate with this energy of excitement, even though you may not know at that point in time what's really happening. And then the energy then continues to build from that point. And without realizing it, there you are in the intensity and potency of this connection. So it's really like being in love on steroids. It's very blissful, magical. You feel like you're floating. You feel butterflies in your stomach. There's an excitement and also an enthusiasm just for life itself. Okay. Now, from this point, your heart begins to open, which is what connects you to the divine love that you'll feel, and also to the divinity within you. So you're feeling divine love through that other person, but you're also feeling the divine love it is that you hold within. That is you. So it's a very pure and exquisite love. And for the first time, there really are no limits or conditions around love, which is very different than the human love we've experienced up until that point, where there are limits and there are conditions. So you will feel unconditional love for the other person, for everyone and the world around you. You're just in love with everyone and everything. That's what divine love is. It's literally a high on love, to the point where this person can do no wrong. You love every aspect about them, and you see them in perfection just as they are. Even if they do something that your human self would be upset about or might get upset about, you will maintain a pure state of love for them because you're seeing them for who they really are. You're connecting to their light. And the only reason why this is happening for you is because you're connecting to your own light too. You are seeing you for who you really are, and you are then emanating your light and love too. So you can see the magic in this all. In the whole thing is emanating your light, experiencing your light, experiencing yourself as divine love, and also experiencing that in somebody else. Now, another point to make this, that I'd like to make in this, is that this person may not be at all the type of person you've been attracted to or thought you were interested in. They may look different, come from a different upbringing, and it's also not uncommon for there to be a significant age difference as well, which can throw people for a loop sometimes. All right, so this connection is an activation on all fronts, which means your heart opens, your consciousness expands, it awakens your Kundalini energy, which is your soul's energy. And the merging process begins where you merge your energy fields together and literally become one. Okay, your energy and their energy become one. So if you'd like to learn more about the merging process and what happens when we merge energy fields with another soul, because boy, oh boy, is that an experience that'll take things to a whole nother level, be sure to watch my video on merging energy fields. All right, so that all being said, you will feel a very powerful magnetic pull towards the other person that can feel unsettling almost, because it's like you've lost control. You have no control with the energies, what's going on within you, how it is you're feeling. And before you know it, your whole world has become about this person, your twin. And you can't stop thinking about them. They're with you. They're with you because of the merge, even when they're not. So like when your energy fields merge, it's like you're together all the time. You are, because you become one for that point in time. And so even when they're not with you, they are with you and you'll feel it. But it's not really about having control, is it? That's never really the point. It's never about control, but it's more so about flowing with the experience as this happens. But when it first happens, it's very difficult to do that because your mind is moving through it as it does with every other experience. But it can't, because this is a non-linear one. That's the inner workings of your higher self and your twin. So it's not easy to do in the beginning, but that's really what this process will teach you, is about moving with the flow of life. But let's face it, it is much easier said than done. And I'd love to hear in the comments below if you've met your twin flame and what your experience has been like, because it is a life-changing one. So the second thing that everybody on this journey experiences is expansion, 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 and more expansion. One of the most beautiful aspects when we expand our consciousness from our heart's opening is that we are truly seeing the higher perspective in things. And so something like forgiveness comes really naturally. It's what you want to do because you have nothing but pure love for everyone and everything. You're literally on a high, which makes you feel like you can do and be anything your heart desires, which is the truth of who we are, but we don't understand that and don't live from that place usually. So imagine what that would be like to really feel it, think it, and believe it. Incredible, right? That's our higher self at play. That's what happens when we're living from that place, from our heart opening. And forgiveness is a beautiful thing. Usually it's not so easy for the human side of us to do, but when you're living from your higher self, from your heart, it's just natural. So one of the other really cool things is that in this expanded state, of course, your psychic awareness is heightened 1,000-fold, and you're incredibly connected to your twin, even when they're not there. And so you can hear your guidance too, just like they're right in front of you having a conversation with you. It is the coolest thing. So imagine that, hearing your guidance to the point where you're not questioning a thing or say, did I hear that right? maybe that's not really true. It's so clear that you wouldn't doubt it for a moment. So it really is an all-encompassing energy that you can't separate yourself from, at least in the beginning. And the intensity does not stop. It keeps growing and growing, and it continues to build, making it quite difficult at times to focus on your own life responsibilities. I mean, imagine if all of these energies were running through you, your psychic senses are off the charts, you feel like you're with this other person even when you're not. It would make that difficult, as you can imagine, to just do the normal day-to-day things that you are used to doing. It's like you're living in your own little bubble that no one else would ever even understand. Okay, so just being in the other person's energy field is powerfully intense, and it's not a normal feeling, but there is a desire and a magnetic pull to do so because of this inner knowingness that's inside, that it's like it's serving both parties. And it's actually very important to be in each other's presence and energy, and you will have that, again, that knowingness inside, because the energy inspires that. All right, it inspires that. Now, the other side of the expanded state is, as I mentioned earlier, you can see things very clearly, and our psychic senses are as strong as they've ever been, which means everything in your world that will no longer serve you down your new path begins to collapse. Like all these realities that were in your world will begin to collapse, close down. It's like a domino effect that we see, that everything we thought was true or our truth really wasn't. So from this expanded state, you will get a sense that, oh gosh, this relationship isn't right anymore. This friendship wasn't right. This family dynamic is not what it's supposed to be. The job I'm in is not where I'm meant to be, is not what brings me joy. And because you can now see it from this heightened state of awareness, those realities will then begin to close out or collapse or be dismantled, as they say. So it's a breaking down of the illusion of the life we were living. And that can be, I mean, with all these realities coming to light and seeing, wow, the truth of the life it is that we were living wasn't what we thought it was. That can be a pretty earth-shaking experience when your world crumbles around you. But it's very purposeful. And it's not to put everybody in a place of fear. It's just a part of what happens when we expand. It's a part of awakening, and it is definitely a part of ascension. Now, I liken it to what happened around COVID. So if you think about what happened during that time period, where we got to see aspects of the truth of the third density realities we had been living in that we couldn't necessarily see before. It's the same thing. It's like when the truth comes to light, you're like, wow, that's not what I thought it was. All right. So it's the same kind of experience. Now, this domino effect is where we lose control, meaning because everything is happening so quickly, I mean, you will see this all come to light like in a very short amount of time. When this happens, as it's happening so fast, we can't hold on to those realities anymore like we did before, because it's just a part of our human nature to want to hold on to realities, even if it's not the best ones for us, because we don't like change. Well, this offers a whole nother dynamic that things are happening so fast in our life that it's like the dominoes just falling down, that you can't hold on to those realities, and you can't hold on to those many unconscious realities on top of it. And so this is really where we learn to surrender. It is a breakdown of the linear constructs that we hold within, so that when expansion sets in. So anybody who is sensitive to energy it'll literally feel like dominoes falling, and you'll know that old realities are collapsing, and also soul contracts that aren't aligned anymore. You will feel them come into completion. And I felt it just like a book closing, like that's a chapter closed. And it's like, wow, that contract has come to an end. It's completed. And it's a pretty powerful experience. So with everything going on, from the intensity of the connection, imagine feeling divine love and seeing everything for the truth of what it is, hearing your guidance, all of these things happening at once. It's quite intense. And so and also, connecting to the realities collapsing and all of this change happening at once. There's nothing comfortable about the experience, as you can imagine. There's so much beauty in it, and you'll feel that beauty and love all at the same time as the uncomfortability that comes with some of the other things we've talked about. So this can cause one of the twins to leave the relationship out of fear of vulnerability, fear of it being too much to handle, fear of love, fear of all of the above. And so the person who leaves is oftentimes referred to as, in the twin flame community, as quote unquote the runner. And this then creates, though, when this happens, it creates the opportunity for each twin to then begin the work of becoming more whole inside, which then leads us to our third point, in the experience that everybody experiences, is contraction and integration. So if you are finding value in this and you're finding this information to be helpful, I would really love it if you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share it with others who it can support too. So let's talk a little bit about contraction and integration. Now, I said earlier that everybody's experience is going to be unique, but these are the three things that everybody will experience. You're going to experience divine love, you're going to experience expansion, and you're also going to experience contraction and integration that comes with that. Now, this is going to be contraction and integration is going to be an ongoing part of our ascension, where we expand and then contract back down. But it's at this point in the twin experience where this happens too. So we've expanded out, we've felt all this love, our heart is opened, and now it is time to contract back in and integrate all of the higher codes and our higher self. So it's through this experience where your relationship with your higher self becomes much, much stronger and a dominant part of the experience and the journey. So it's when we come down off of our high and we really start working through all of the clearing of everything, that's all the unconscious programs within us, within ourselves, and in our realities. It's at this point where we start to rebuild our lives, but this time from our higher self, not our lower self, because we're rebuilding realities that are going to be a vibrational match to all of the new light codes. The new light codes it is that have been activated and that we are now living from. So I want to be sure to include a couple more points here before we end. All right. So it's during this time that where you're contracted back down and you're integrating all of the codes and stuff that have been activated within you, that attachment and obsession energies can set in, because this was someone that you had experienced the most incredible love through. And now that they're gone, and many will develop this attachment to that person and that feeling feeling high, right? High on love, and understandably want more of it. They want to feel that high again, or hold that in place because it feels so good. And it can really take a toll on someone's life, obsessing on whether they'll get back together again with that person, what that person is doing, what that person's thinking about them or feeling about them, and on it goes, right? So now, we've all experienced this with breakups, on our journey, but this one is again, it's heightened. It is amplified in ways that you will not have experienced before because of all of the intensity behind the energies. All right. So now if one of the twins was in a relationship with somebody else when the meeting took place, which can of course also happen, why does it happen, or why would it happen? Because when you're ready to expand in certain ways, when you're ready to learn certain new things, your soul is going to bring that experience forward. It doesn't matter what realities your human self is caught up in on this earthly plane. The soul is interested in the greatest growth. And so, well, that will do it to you, right? If you meet somebody like this when you're already in a relationship. Now, one thing, when this meeting took place, it can wreak havoc too by creating confusion for the person in the existing relationship. And, with feelings and questions like, am I supposed to be with my twin or marry my twin because of the love that was felt? And it can also wreak havoc with the other person, with the other twin who might feel like, am I supposed to sit around and wait for this person because that's who I'm supposed to really be with? So that intense energy may level out a bit over time, but, independent of if the one of the twins was in a relationship or not. It's just the intensity that we're talking about here, and that energy may level out a bit over time, but it's still running even at a lower rate, which can be quite disruptive in one's life. It's like this underlying flow of energy that's still kind of alive, but maybe not as potent as it once was. And so it can be disruptive, right? But what I want to say is that the human side of you will really question, like, is this the one? Which can keep you stuck in those thoughts and create an obsession around it and create a lack of peace, and where you're going over and over in your mind, all of what you've experienced with that person, and those thoughts of, wow, I can't imagine that we're not supposed to be together if these feelings were actually there. And of course, again, for the other person who is not in the relationship, and it can create thoughts of, am I supposed to wait for them? So yeah, if you are going through this experience now, you're going to want to watch my next video called Soulmates and Twin Flames. Are we meant to marry them? Are we meant to be in a lifetime commitment with them? Because I think that's an important next topic to talk about, because we've covered, the purpose of the relationship. We've covered what happens, all the feelings that come up, what kind of phases you go through in that meeting. And if you are in another relationship, or if you've just separated and neither one of you are in relationships, we're going to talk about that in my next video. So I hope that, I should say more than often, the twins will come together to activate each other and ignite the whole process we've been talking about, and then part ways to do all the clearing and integration work within themselves. But there are some twins that have already done enough of the work when they meet each other, and they do enter into a relationship and live out their soul's mission in union together. So again, everyone's path is different. And hopefully these different videos will give you different aspects of what you might experience, what you might be experiencing, and support you as you do. So hope you all enjoyed this video and that it supports you in some way. And if you've got any questions for me about this, put in the comments below or reach out to me. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. All right, so see you in my next video, and bye for now.